of Management Consulted, and I'm back today to talk about consulting resumes. Specifically today, we're talking about consulting formatting for resumes. Now, when I'm talking about resumes, for those of you that live outside the US, don't feel excluded. I'm talking about something that is generally pretty universally applicable to consulting firms, whether you're inside or outside the US. I'm just using the word resume because it's easier to focus on. The general rules that I'm going to talk about today will be true whether you're inside or outside the US. So there are 5 key things that I'm going to focus on today for the building of your consulting resume, and specifically the focus is going to be on formatting today. The first thing that I want to talk about are margins. Now, everybody knows when you're cheating on margins. So the key rule here is do not cheat on margins. The general minimum size that a margin should be is 0.5 inches. And when we're doing a resume edit, even if you send us something that's skinnier than that, that's what we're going to bring it to. You can go all the way up to a 1-inch margin, but it's usually not the best use of space. We recommend 0.5 inches because we'd rather see more space in between your entries as opposed to on the outside of the pages. 0.5 inches, however, around the border is very important. It doesn't matter if you can cheat a little bit. It's generally just better to work on the wording to make sure that you don't hang over with your lines. So margins are the first and most important thing. You should make sure that you do set your margins to whatever your region's paper size is. So if you use a standard 8x10, make sure that your margins are appropriate for that. If you use a standard A4, then make sure that your margins are appropriate there as well. But 0.5 inches around the border is going to be important. The second thing that it's important to look at is your font size. Now, there is a narrow range of font sizes that are appropriate. 10 to 11.5. So you've got 4 choices in there: 10, 10.5, 11, and 11.5. You don't want to go larger. 12-point font says I'm in elementary school and don't have a lot to talk about. You also don't want to go too much smaller. 9 or 8-point font says I have no idea what's most important and I want to put everything on there and make you decide for me. So somewhere in the middle, the 10 to 11.5 range is good for font size. The third thing that it's important to look at is spacing. Now, there are 2 general good rules for spacing. Your document should be single spaced, and by single spaced, I mean there shouldn't be 1.15 or 1.5 or 2 points in between each of the lines. It should be single spaced throughout the whole document. But in addition, there should be spaces between entries. So if you have, for example, 2 different school experiences, there should be a space in between those. There should also be spaces in between sections. You don't want to create a word wall on your page where it looks like everything is all together and it makes it very difficult to discern the differences. So when it comes to spacing, you want to make sure that the document itself is single spaced and that there is 1 space in between each one of the entries. That space can be a full space. The smallest size that it can be is down to a half size space, but just do make sure that there is space in between there. The next thing that's important to look at is color. The general rule for consulting resumes is that color is not allowed. It's not acceptable and it's not desired. In general, the focus here is just on making your resume by the book. You want to show them that you're the type of person who isn't going to rely when you come to a client presentation on dazzles and blings, that your focus is just going to be on delivering the core message through data-driven metrics, and that you can do that on your resume or CV as well. So no color anywhere on the document. You need to stand out based on your experience and based on the other clarity of the formatting. The final thing that's important to look at is the font style. Different fonts can convey different messages as a part of the networking process, as well as in the resume review. So when you're going through the process, you want to adhere to a narrow range of fonts. We have a whole list of acceptable fonts inside our consulting resume and cover letter Bible. But just as a couple of examples, today you could choose Arial, Arial Narrow, or Calibri in the sans serif focus, or you can choose Times New Roman, Palatino Linotype, or Garamond in the serif focus. Either one of these can convey something. Like I said, the sans serif fonts are a little bit more playful. They're often for people who are younger. The serif fonts are a little bit more serious, more academic, maybe for somebody who has a lot more experience under their belt. Across the board, you can play around with these and really determine which one works best for your experience, your personality, and what you want to convey. So across the board, there are these 5 things that you want to remember to focus on when you're building a consulting resume. The first is margins. The second, font size. Third, spacing. Fourth, color, and fifth, font. If you have any questions about how to work with your individual resume or CV, we'd love to help. We offer resume editing and review services. We'll go either with you in a quick 30-minute review, or we'll go line by line to actually identify strengths and weaknesses of your document and make them better for you. If you want to work with us, you can just go directly to our website at managementconsulting.com.